Hey guys, how y'all doing? So we're in the off season right now. It's kind of midway through August. So if you're into sheep hunting, you're on the mountains. There's some open goat draws as well. Unfortunately, that's not the case for me this year. I've got a vacation coming up mid next month, so my early season hunting I've kind of left open. That way I wasn't trying to do too many things at once. I've been spending a bunch of time on the water, which is something I haven't done in a few years. So I kind of got back into it. The boat I have right now isn't set up quite the way it used to be set up. I don't have downriggers. I don't have a few other things that make life a little bit easier. So I just wanted to share with you guys the system that I've come up with that's been working to consistently put salmon in the boat this summer. Um, I haven't really done a bunch of video stuff as far as that goes, just kind of living in the moment rather than trying to capture the moment. It's a bit of a fine line sometimes. So I've had a couple people ask if I was going to do a video on it, since I've shared some photos and I've shared some info on it, so I figured I'd do a quick video this time. It's going to be pretty dark in the morning when I launch. I'm going to launch at first light at about 5:30. So I figured I'd touch base now while I've got some light in here, go over a couple little things, and then we'll try and do some recording tomorrow. I'm on my own. Wind's supposed to be, I think we're 12 or 13 kilometers, gusting 15 or 16. So we'll see how tomorrow pans out. I may not be able to get into the spot I want to get to, or it may be pretty rough and I might not be able to video anything. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, I don't have downriggers on this boat, so I've been using something else. Lure Jensen makes it's called a Deep Six. So they actually make these things in 3 different sizes. You can get them in, they basically go by max depth, so you can get them in 30 foot, 60 foot, or 90 foot. This one here will get me down to 60 foot, and I've also got a 30 foot that I run. Most of the summer coho have been pretty high up. I've been finding them pretty consistently around 45, 50, somewhere in there. Sometimes as shallow as 35. So basically what you do with this is you're going to hook up to it, and it's got a little release bead on it. So that clips in here, and you can actually, there's an adjustment screw. You can adjust the tension if you don't want it to pop out too easy. And basically this end of it here will run to whatever you've got set up, your flasher and whatever lure you've got, and then you're going to tie to this end here. This is going to go to your rod, so it's basically going to drag through the water like this with the weight down and taking a bunch of pressure on the top plate here, and that's what's going to keep that bait down. So this hooks onto the rod, like I said. This end here runs out to, I just dropped a pin, that'll be good if I find it later. This end here runs to a flasher, so I run about 4 feet of line, and then I hook onto a flasher. The flashers I've been running, these seem to work pretty well for coho right now. Green seems to be the color. Anything that glows definitely helps. White or glow hoochies have been absolutely on fire the last little while for me. So I've got a bunch of these already pre-set up, so I'm not wasting a bunch of time setting up in the morning on the water. So this one here is going to run 4 feet from the Deep Six to the flasher, and then from the flasher I'm running 25-inch leaders out to whatever bait I've got on there. So in this case here it's the hoochie. The other thing that's been doing pretty well for me is we've got one of these Gibbs skinny G's. These have been working pretty well too. We've picked up springs and cohos on both setups the last couple times we've been out. They've been consistent. I haven't needed downriggers to get down deep right now. Summer coho in BC here, green flasher, anything that glows, glow or white hoochie, skinny G's. The other stuff we have is there's a company called West Coast Spoons. I like to support local where I can. These are made in Vancouver. They've got some pretty wicked Pacific Series spoons that work really well too. Coho have been pretty aggressive, so they'll hit just about anything. But yeah, that's the basic setup I've been running. The downside is it leaves a lot of real estate on the end of the line. So I'm running 10-foot rod, a little over 10-foot rod, and then, 4 feet from the diver to the flasher, and then another 2 feet out to the bait. So I've got 6 feet of real estate hanging out there that I've got to work around and then net a fish if I'm by myself. It gets a little bit tricky, but like I said, that's what I've got to work with. the boat I have right now is a loaner for me, so it isn't set up for downriggers. I can't start drilling away and mounting them on there, so I got to work with what I got. I've had these deep sixes for ages. I had never used them consistently, and I figured I'd try them this year. I've figured a system out. It's worked really well for me, and hopefully that info helps you guys out. Like I said, I've rambled on long enough. I'm going to try and keep this short and get to some fishing action. So see you guys in the morning. We're going to be out there bright and early, 5:30. It's low tide. We're going to fish the ebb, and then we're going to fish the slack at the end of the ebb tide there. So we're going to be out for a half day, probably 6 hours, and hopefully limit out again. Alrighty guys, it is about 6:15 right now, so I've got the boat launched. I just finished setting my gear and everything up. I don't know if it's a pro tip, but it's a tip anyways. Set your rods up as much as you can, everything before you leave the dock. That way you're not trying to do everything out there. Like I said, it doesn't look bad from here, but the weather report still says it's pretty windy out where I'm going, so it's not going to be super fun trying to get everything set up while I'm bobbing around in the waves. So I've got everything set up now. All I have to do is clip on my my deep sixes are already on. I just have to clip on my flashers and my lures, and away I go. So that'll save me a bunch of time once I get out there. But yeah, I'm going to quit messing around. I will see you guys out on the fishing grounds. All right, bye. There's one in the boat. And off he goes. I had just let that line down, and I was in the middle of letting the other one down, and that one hit, so it turned into a bit of a circus. But unfortunately, he had gotten himself all wrapped up in that line and in the net, so I had to bring him in and handle him a little more than I wanted to ideally, but took a little extra time, made sure that it was a good release. He swam away strong, so that's what it's all about. Unfortunately, he was a wild one, but that's one fish down, and hopefully on our way to a limit. Alright guys, a little bit of action there. So, got the lines back in the water, we're back in business. Sorry, I'm just watching one of my rods here. Got a couple shakers on the spoon, so it's a little hard to tell sometimes. I just want to make sure I'm not dragging something little around so I can get it released and get it going. Let you guys go. I gotta keep watching these rods here. I got a bunch of fish stacked here on the fish finder at about 45, 50 feet. So let's see if we can find another one. Fish on. Lost him. My net got hung up in the side here, and I got too much slack in the line, and off he went. Darn it. That's good fish though. All right. Well, we'll keep at it. I don't want to pull him out. I want to do this quick before we let him go, but that is an absolute slab of a coho. And unfortunately, he's wild. So back he goes. That was a good fight. That was a beautiful fish. I kind of failed on that last video there. I thought I had hit record, and apparently I did not. But we got one hatchery coho in the boat now. So I thought I had lost them. And I was putting the net away. I was getting ready to reel the last of it in, and then all of a sudden I realized he was just pacing me, spun around, and ran on the surface again. Managed to get him wrangled back in, managed to get the net on him. Good looking fish. And that's the last two have just absolutely hammered that skinny G. So the first two hit the hoochie, the last two slammed that spoon. And I find I'm getting a way better hook set on the spoon than I am on the tandem on the hoochie there. So it's making netting them a lot easier. I lost that one on the hoochie earlier. When I was trying to net it, as soon as I put slack in the line, I just lost it there. So fingers crossed we can get one more in the boat here. I smashed the ever-loving hell out of my shin on that last one. Caught the bottom of the chair here, that metal bracket. But we're just coming up on the low tide here. So it's going to start picking up. I've passed a couple bait balls. They're starting to come up off the bottom a little bit and stack up on this side here. And you can definitely see there's salmon stacked up on either side of them right at the drop-offs, waiting for this bait to come up. So I'm just kind of trolling through them, and I find it's funny. Sometimes you find in one direction you don't get any hits. You turn around, you present it going the other way, and all of a sudden that seems to be the meal ticket. So I wasn't getting anything going up coast, but going back west down the side here, I've been getting my hits. So let's see if we can get one more in the boat and see if I can not smash the hell out of my shin anymore, because that feels fantastic. Stay tuned. This circus is starting to pay off. Filming and trying to do this is not the easiest thing in the world. I could probably use a third leg and 2 extra arms right now. But the wind's died down a little bit. It's a little easier to control the boat. The fish are starting to bite. We're coming up on that slack tide, so we should be all right. I'm going to show you guys quickly. I'm just gutting this one here. Started to open them up. In case you're wondering what they were eating. Let's see if we can dig that out of there. There you go. That was lunch before I found them. That's why he hit the spoon. Alright, I am absolutely dumbfounded right now. I just came back across. There's an old bay I used to fish with my dad 20-25 years ago. So I figured it was common there. I'd gut the fish out that I had, clean it up, and for shits and giggles troll my way back. And I wasn't expecting to hook into anything. I'd already folded my net up, it was gone. And something hit the hoochie at about 50 feet. And whatever it was big. I fought it for about 2 minutes. And then it took everything with it. It busted the line. I didn't think there was any weak spots in the line, but it busted the line below the deep 6, about 8 inches, 7 inches below the deep 6. It took the flasher, it took the hoochie, it took everything with it. 6 feet of gear. I don't know what that was, but I was not expecting that. Alright, apparently I'm not done quite yet. Now I'm going to do a couple more passes over this. A wild one, unfortunately, but good fish. Felt good to get into another one. It's been a couple hours. No way, double header. I'm gonna lose one for sure. No. Oh, that hurts the soul. Double header and I lost them both. No. Oh. That's cruel and unusual. Well, thanks for watching the first fishing episode, guys. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully you found some helpful information in there. Obviously I struggled a little bit with the camera angles. The tripod just did not want to stay upright with how much the ocean was moving. And then also where I had to place it then on the dashboard, it just didn't give me a wide enough angle, so everything was cropped in a lot tighter than I wanted it. You know, growing pains, unfortunately, it is what it is. I will make sure that I have a better system next time around, now that I know what I need to work with and what I need to work on. So again, hopefully you guys found it entertaining. Hopefully you found it useful. If you want to see more of the fishing end of it, let me know in the comment section. I'm obviously happy to, you know, accommodate whatever you guys find interesting, whatever you want to see more of. But yeah, plan is I'm going to be out again next weekend, so hopefully I'll get a little better footage and we'll carry on. So good luck to you guys if you're hitting the mountains early season. I know some guys have already had some luck in the sheep draws and the goat draws. Also, LEH draws are kicking off, so I have got a little bit of a vacation, like I said, coming up, so my early hunting season is going to be minimal, but I will be hard at it when I get back, and we've got some big stuff planned for end of October, November this year. So stay tuned, and thanks again. If you like it, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.